Okay, we're back. Had some troubles connecting to the stream. Not sure how much was recorded. Hopefully it got all of the S1 stuff. So I'm gonna just talk about S2. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure if I picked it up last time, but the way that I aim S2 is that I use the ruler. You turn it on with the precision shot thing, and each small tick is 1.5 wind. Large, 3 small ticks is 1 large tick. 1 large tick would be 4.5 wind. 2 would be 9. So yeah, so this 3 wind would be 2 small ticks. Right, so I would expect it to go somewhere around there. Oh no, that was bad. It's hard to click with your hand. Yeah, that's even too far. So, whoops. There. Yeah, no, that's too close. Anyway, between those last 2 points, yeah. So that's how I used to measure where my shot is gonna go, and you can use that if you want. You can go by feeling. I generally tend to use it because it helps me, and it does take a bit of time to do, and it's still more or less an eyeball method, because unless the wind is exactly horizontal, it's not going to be just like reading off a ruler, right? But if it just so happened to be horizontal, then you can pretty much just read off the ruler, right? Okay, so the next thing I want to get into is exactly where to aim your shot. This is kind of a tricky thing, and it's taken me a long time to figure all of it out. So where you want to aim your shot depends on the trajectory, right? So as I talked about before, and hopefully the stream captured, depending on the trajectory, the clover pattern is going to be different, right? So if it's kind of in a 45-degree angle, right, I'll shoot one here, let's say, then it's going to be basically the more typical diamond shape. And if you're shooting shorter, then it's going to be more of a square shape. And you'll see, like, depending on how you're shooting it, the holes are going to be in different locations. And really your goal is to try to drop them as far as possible, right? When you're shooting with S2 with the intent of digging or trapping. You would want them to like go to the bottom, right, wherever that may be. So how are they going to fall all the way there? Well, they have to, there has to be no land from where they are to the bottom of the clover. So that means that they're going to have to fall through here, they're going to have to fall through here, and they're going to have to land there, right? Or if you want them to fall through the other hole, they have to fall through here, they have to fall through that gap, and they have to end up there. If it's more like the clover on the very right, where it's just like a diamond shape, they have to fall through here, they have to fall through here, or if you make them fall through the other side, they fall through there, fall through there. So depending on the shape of the clover, where you have to aim is going to change, right? And how do I know that? Well, you can just take the shot marker and look and measure it, right? So if this is where the center of the explosion was, then I need to make the enemy fall through either the left or the right. And where the left and the right is more or less where you see that the square box where your shot marker is, right? So the corners of the box, right? These are what show up, and this is on even if you don't turn on the precision shooting, right? So you can leave it off just for clarity. You see that the gaps are kind of right where the sides of the box are, right? Okay, so that tells you how you want to shoot, because you want the enemy to be aligned with the sides of the box. Okay, and this is just for the square pattern, right? For the clover pattern, the gaps are slightly closer than the sides of the box. You see, they're more like, if I say like the width of the box is what I'm going by, they're kind of like a third of the width of the box. Right? If you measure from the center of the box out to the sides, that would be half, right? Like if I'm going by the square case, the center of the box to the sides of the box is about half the size of the box, right? Or it is half the size of the box. So if it's a square case, it's about half. If it's the diamond shape, then it's like not half, right? It's less than half. It's oops. Yeah, hopefully you can tell what I'm saying. Right, it's closer. So, depending on the trajectory of your shot, it's going to change. If it's somewhere in between, then right, like this is kind of in between. And you'll see this in this case, the gaps are actually not like the top. Like if he's gonna fall through the right side here, the gap up here is much farther away from the center of the box than the gap down here. So when you're not in either of these two scenarios, you generally just want them to fall through the top, right? You don't really care. Well, you do care if they fall through the bottom, but your main goal is to get them to fall through the top. So the top is generally like farther. So in most scenarios, you generally want to be aiming for where the center of the mobile is, like at the sides of the box. That'll give you the best chance of them falling through. And you see, like the gap isn't really that big. You kind of have like, if I were to measure with the ruler, you kind of have like maybe 2 wind of leeway up for them to fall through that gap. And this depends on the size, how much explosion range you have. So if you have more explosion range, the holes are going to be bigger, so the gaps are going to be bigger. If you have less explosion range, the opposite is true. Yeah, so, okay, the other thing to note is, how do you figure out where the center of the mobile is? You can usually just kind of estimate, I guess, for most mobiles. Maybe I'm looking at this Trico and I think, well, the center should be around here, right where that belt is on the Trico. And that would generally be correct. On other mobiles, it's kind of not obvious where the center is. So the center is like where the mobile like actually stands, right? So if you want them to fall, the center should be the part that needs to fall through the hole. So you need to figure out where the center is. If you've been watching my streams, maybe you've seen me do it, but sometimes I'll double check to see where the center of the mobile is. And the way I do that is I just move my cursor onto the mobile, right? So like here it's not on it's not on the mobile yet, not on the mobile yet, but then here it's like on the mobile. So that's like the very left of the mobiles right there. And I can either just tell by that, because I know now like the edge of the right side of the box for large mobiles will be the center of the mobile. The mobiles actually, like the different tanks actually have different widths, but like the large ones like Trico, they're going to be essentially the width of the box is the width of the mobile. And then you can use, actually it's easier to check with the reverse side because it's always going to touch the back of the mobile. Yeah, he's not quite as big as this is the box. He's maybe like 80% of the width of the box, something like that. But if you look at the two sides, you kind of have an estimate of where the center is. And for Trico, it's kind of this belt thing here. The ones where it's kind of tricky are like Rayon, because the center is actually quite a bit farther than what it looks like. Or quite a bit further back. Same with like Armor and Rockin' are the ones that I generally like. I'll double check this. Yeah, so you want to make sure like, okay, like after I do this thing where I kind of figure out where the center is, then I'll move my cursor over to where the center is, and then I'll move it, remember we're talking about like, you want to make the right side of the box where center is, so I'll probably like move it there if I want to bunch this Trico. Right, and then you got to account for the wind. So forewind is not quite a big tick on the ruler, right? The big tick would be 4.5, but it's pretty close. So I want to move it that distance, so like almost a big tick to the upper left, right, in the opposite direction of the wind. So that would be like right there, and then I would shoot. Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of my process for shooting, is first figure out where the mobile actually is, right, the center of the enemy. And then I figure out where I have to place the cursor depending on the trajectory of the shot. And then finally, I have to account for the wind, right? Then I gotta adjust for how far the wind is. Let me just restart. We'll try it with maybe we'll try some different enemies at different lengths and see where you should be shooting. Okay, so here's a Rayon. This is one where I thought it's not quite obvious where the center is. If you just look at the tank and you see like his two wheels are here and here, you might think the center is here. But it's actually like here. How you would know that is, by doing the trick that I mentioned about figuring out where the left side is. So it's like more or less his left wheel. But then the right is all the way over here. It's like way behind his wheel. So his center is actually like right there. Right there. So knowing that, that's where his center would be. And then I want to move it. So I'm still fairly close to him. It's not quite like a 45-degree angle. It's more like a 60-degree angle. So I want to move it about half the box width away from the center. So that would be like there. Right, and then adjust for the wind. It's only one. That's like tiny. So I'll shoot. And yeah, you see he got dropped all the way to the bottom. Oh yeah, the other thing is how far down do you place the box? Or how far down do you place the marker? For me, I generally place it like there. I don't know how to really describe it. It's kind of like, you see the top of the box of your marker? You want to go like another distance from the center of the box to the top is where the land should be. So I generally shoot it like that. You can be a bit safer and aim it higher, but you can actually aim it a bit lower even and still drop them. Like I think even up to like there should be okay. I'll shoot and we'll see. Yeah, so there was definitely okay. That's definitely enough. But again, depending on the orientation of your shot, the trajectory, when it's more of a diamond shape, the total height of the holes will be higher. So you can also play a bit safer and just aim a bit higher. But yeah, I generally shoot it at least like where it's another distance from the center of the box to the top of the box to the top of the land. So that's how I generally tend to shoot. And then, oh yeah, and do you aim to the left side or the right side of the enemy? If you aim to like the very center, right, they're gonna drop onto the little piece of land that's left behind. And you know, in most cases, that's not the best outcome. You'd rather have them drop all the way to the bottom, because then, you know, they have a chance of getting shot blocked by this piece of land. And I'll go over like which mobiles get shot blocked. But if they land on this piece of land that's left behind, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can generally shoot your next shot here, and it'll clear this piece of land, and it'll also like dig them even further. So they're gonna go from standing there all the way to standing there, which is not bad. But it just means that they're gonna be able to shoot usually. Some mobiles have like a really low shot nozzle, in which case even landing on this piece of land will shot block them. But the hole has to be sufficiently deep that the sides of this hole, like here, have to be big enough to block them. So that's another reason why you want to shoot it low. Not only just to maximize the amount of dig you do, you also increase the chances of shot blocking. Oh yeah, so yes, what was I saying is that, yeah, I tend to shoot to the front side of the mobile and hope that they drop on the right side. The reason I do that is because, you know, if you shoot it, say, and it comes at a 60-degree angle, the hole that's farther away from you will be higher up. So like this hole here that I'm pointing to right now will be higher than that hole, right? So you could do it the other way around, but you generally get more overall dig if you use this part. If you're shooting really far, say like, let's say they were all the way over here. In this case, I can't really show it to you, but the diamond will actually tilt the other way. So instead of this hole being the higher one, it'll be this hole. So in that case, you can shoot behind them, but it's more or less the same concept. It's just reverse. You have to flip it. Another thing is, okay, if they're on a tilted, if they're not on flat land, see like this rayon is kind of tilted. This measuring tactic, it can work. Yeah, so this measuring tactic where I'm using this, where I'm using the box to figure out where the center of the enemy is, it usually doesn't work that well. And so in these cases, you kind of just have to have memorized where the centers of each mobile is, and then the place in which that center is, you know, at their feet is where they connect, where the actual center of the enemy, of the mobile is. So in this case, it'd be like right here. And then I need to put that with the edge of the side of the box. So if I want to bunge this rayon, and then I move it by 2, so 2 is like slightly more than 1 tick on the ruler, so it's like, I didn't do that very well. So somewhere there-ish. So move it here. Okay, so hopefully that was clear. Okay, what should I do next? I guess we can do some more real world, or not real world, but like scenarios where, you know, I'm actually trying to trap them. Okay, I'll just skip with this guy. So let's say I'm trying to trap this. Can't tell what that is. Is that a mallet? So here the shot is like 60 or 70 degrees. So I want to use the edge of the box. I pretty much know that, you know, where the center of this guy is. It's just more or less obvious. Yeah, it's where you think it is. So it's like right there. Center, and then I move it to the edge of the box. And then I do the 3. So that's just 2 ticks, 2 small ticks. But the wind is more or less 45 degrees to the northwest. So I've got to move my cursor to the southeast in the same distance. So maybe around there. Okay, so yeah, because the shot was so vertical, he basically just dropped at the bottom of the second hole, and you know that's probably as good as I could do for that shot. Oh, that's an ASAT. Okay. Yeah, I mean I could do the same thing for this guy, just to show it again. So where is he? He's like center is like right there. Move it down. And I purposely picked medium training because there's no time limit on the shot. Okay, so that's before the wind. That's where I want to place it, and then now I got to adjust for wind. So 3 wind, it's pretty easy. It's like right there. Yeah. Okay. So these are all pretty easy wins. Guess I could just wait until there's a harder wind. Okay, so 6. It's 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4 small ticks. It's pretty much straight down. So I'm doing the same thing. Here's the center, right? I move it that far down to figure out how far down to move it. I move it off to the side to the edge of the box. So the edge of the box aligns with the center. And then up. So 6 is 4 ticks. Right? So that's pretty much there-ish. So I move it there. Okay, so I didn't move it far enough down. The shot actually kind of hit him rather than the ground, and that's why I didn't dig him. Okay, let's try with another guy. So, okay, we won't go through all the steps here. Sometimes if the guy's too far below you, it's hard to like shoot. Like, see, like this is about as low as I can get the shot. But if I move a bit farther away, you can shoot it lower. See? So yeah, just move a bit further away if they're really far below you. Okay, so yeah, same thing. That's where the edge of the box is. And just 3, pretty easy. Yeah, I could have shot it lower. Now let's get a new game going. maybe I'll be able to spawn farther away from the enemies. Okay, yeah, here I'm really far away. So I'll be able to show like the diamond shape. So, okay, so yeah, when it's pretty much 45 degree, it might be even a bit farther than 45 degree, like it might be 30 degree angle here. So in this case, I'm gonna shoot behind the enemy. So I gotta figure out where he is. The center is pretty much there. It might be wrong here. Okay, so, and then I move it behind him by about a third of the width of the box. So maybe like there. And then 6 in that direction is 4 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that direction. Whoops. Oh shit, I just skipped. Okay, well, I meant to, move the thing. Okay, we'll do it again. Same guy. So, I already measured him, more or less. Yeah, center is like there. Move it a third. And then 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks. It's really hard to. If I had a stylus, it would be much easier. Like around there. Alright, so I'll move it here. Yeah. So he fell through the gaps. I probably could have placed it lower. Although, I mean, it's really not necessary. Because I'm going to need 2 turns to bunch him anyway. Yeah, and you'll see like the diamond. It's more tilted. Like the top hole was a bit in front, so that's why I chose to shoot it behind him. Yeah, so like when the land isn't, when there's a lot of broken land already, you need to figure out like where the right place to shoot it is. Because if I, like, let's say I shot it here, that would probably be the right place to shoot it. Yeah, actually I could shoot it more here. So like one of the bullets will be exploding here, and another one will be exploding here. If there's no land where the bullets spawn, then they don't explode there, obviously. So you got to take that into account. So I want to I want to get rid of this land here, and I want to get rid of that land. So how do I best do that? Well, it's it's like shooting around there. So here, because the cursor is in this, it's not under the ground, so the ruler's not going to appear there. That makes it a bit harder, but you kind of just have to figure out the distance and then move it as if you had the ruler there. So here, the same distance as 4 ticks, and it's kind of in a like a northwest, but mostly north. So I want to move it southeast, but mostly south. So it'll be like around there. So I move it to the box, and hopefully this works. Okay. Okay, so that covers S2, I think. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, so there's also using S2 for... Oh, okay, no, I haven't gone over how to... who you can trap. So, like, your primary targets for S2, right? Because you're like, the way that you win with blank is you bunch people. Essentially at the end of the day, you bunch people. But the best way to do that is to block their shot all along the way so that they can't hit you back. And there's only certain mobiles in which the S2 will block their shot. Well, if you dig them enough times, pretty much everybody gets blocked. But for first turn block, where the first shot, if you drop them below the middle piece of land, you're looking at like Rockin' pretty much always gets blocked. Armor usually gets blocked. Rockin', Armor, Lightning will usually get blocked. Who else usually gets blocked? Armor, Rockin', Lightning, J-Frog. Those are kind of the ones that I can think of. Obviously, Rockin' and Armor are the more common ones. Lightning is kind of common. J-Frog's not very common. But usually you want to target those guys because they you can shot block them and essentially make it like 2v1 because you're hitting them with both of your guys and they can only hit you with one. Turtle is also a good one to block because, yeah, sometimes even if you don't block, even though the middle piece of land won't block his shot, if you drop them and the uppermost opening is small enough, then he'll be blocked by that. Who else? That's so like, yeah, when you're talking about like who do you target, I usually focus on those guys, and then hopefully if I'm playing 2v2, like my partner knows not to go for that guy because I'm going to be trying to shot block them and eventually punch them. Who else gets shot blocked? That's really all I can think of. There's guys that, actually Ray Gun gets shot blocked by the middle thing, but he can use S1 to at least aim and then, S2 to shoot, or you can just S1 and, you'll get the minor damage. But yeah, it's still worth it, I guess, to shot block him. The guys that you won't shot block, usually you still want to go for the farther guy if you can, because if they're not shot blocked, they might have a hard time shooting you back because they have to high angle it out of the hole, and they're not going to be able to get the low angle they want in order to reach you. So you generally want to go for the guys you can shot block, followed by the farther away guy. And sometimes it's just a matter of who's going next, right? You want to like eliminate threats. So maybe like both the enemies can be shot blocked. Who do you go for? Well, you usually go for the guy who's going next, because if you don't shoot him next, he's gonna get his shot off. But if you do shoot him and you block him, then he can't shoot, obviously, and that prevents damage on you. So it's like a matter of eliminating their ability to do damage to you, because blank is pretty fragile when you're going with Jewel Hammer. And you really should be using Jewel Hammer. I don't think there's anything better than Jewel Hammer, at least for the first position or second position. Yeah, that's kind of getting into the strategy, so I'll probably save it for after we talk about shooting. The other thing that I wanted to go over is how to use S2 to do damage. So the S2, if you shoot it, there's a certain way you can shoot it so that the bullets all converge on one point. It has slightly higher damage just compared to S1, but it's a lot, it's a lot harder to do than just to shoot an S1, a sky shot even. So generally the times when I would use it is if you're on the Twin Thor maps, where having 4 pellets is a lot of damage, a lot of lasers, and also because it's really hard to actually shot block people on the Twin Thor map, because the lasers will destroy any land that's blocking. And just because that it's generally faster to kill someone than it is to bunch them because of the lasers. So that's where I would use the S2. As for how to aim the S2, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like, to me, it's like more of an art. There has to be a certain distance between you and the target, and then the wind has to be favorable for it. So it's like all the right things. There's a lot of conditions for it, and if they're not all met, then you're gonna get like differing amounts of damage. So, like here, this. Okay, so like, would I be able to do it on the mage? Pretty much no. There's not going to be a good shot on the mage. I mean, I could try my best and see what happens. In this case, I think 2 of the shots will go like further. They essentially they won't converge. They're going to be 2 of them will be spread to the left and 2 will be spread to the right. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So there's kind of like a sweet spot distance to be far away, like to be how far away from the enemy. The knack is, I think, a bit too far away. I could try it. Yeah, he's gonna be a bit too far away. So again, the same thing will happen. It's basically like the shots will not. Yeah. 2 were a bit too close and 2 were too far. How you aim it though is, you just gotta aim it like in steps. You gotta figure out how much the wind is gonna affect the first part of the shot, which is the same as if you're shooting to dig, right? Because the bullets always appear at a certain amount of time, so depending on the wind, it's going to adjust where the bullets spawn. And then the second part of the shot is basically just a normal shot. So you kind of got to figure out, okay, if I was shooting from that spot where it spawned, how much would the wind affect it? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So you'll have to just practice, because I don't really know exactly how I shoot it. Like, I couldn't really describe it to you, other than just I've done it so many times that I kind of have a feel for it. Yeah, like I would know that he's a bit too far. Ideally, he would be like there, and I would shoot it like that. Like, you kind of have to fall at a certain angle, right? Like, if you're shooting like this, right, it's coming at too steep of an angle, it'll never converge. If it's like all the way out here, it's too shallow of an angle, it'll never converge. It's kind of like, it has to be coming at like a 60-degree angle. That's how it'll converge. Sometimes if you're closer, you can just aim higher, and that'll be okay. Like, if it's coming at here like at a 70-degree angle, it'd probably be okay too, just because when it opens, it's in a direction that the shot will converge. Here, let me try it. Hopefully I won't kill my own rocket. Yeah, you see, like, that kind of converged. What else? There's also his SS. I'm not sure what to talk about. SS, you generally want to use it, when you're close to the enemy, or when you're below the enemy, because otherwise it spreads a lot. So, like, if I was to shoot SS on him, it won't do, like, it'll do like maybe like 300, 400 damage. Yeah, probably around 400. But if he was a lot closer, okay, it didn't even do 400. If he was a lot closer, it can do upwards of like 500, 600 damage. What else? Yeah, SS, you generally want to be close. So if you're playing a drop, you want to like land close to the guy that you plan on using SS on eventually. if they're stupid enough to teleport next to you, then, you know, that would be really nice. That's also why you want to have a shield break pet, the ice elemental, because it will give you a definite shield break. Yeah, and I think, I don't know, like Blank's not that common, so sometimes people don't know that you can shield break. But yeah, I guess what else is to say about SS? If you're shooting from below the enemy, the SS can do a lot of damage if you, like, you either point it directly at the guy. So let's say this was my SS. If I had it open here, the SS always opens at the very peak of the shot. It's not like S2 where it always opens after a certain time. SS always opens at the peak of the shot. So like the peak of the shot, I'm talking about like there. So but let's say that I pointed the peak of the shot onto, like, inside the guy, it can do a lot of damage. Or if you just put it like very close but not on top or not inside, you can like one-shot people with SS. Okay, so maybe I'll just show a bit more like shooting. So okay, we'll do another shot on, let's say we'll do a shot on this arrow here. So the first thing, right, I'll start with measuring the center of this guy. So the left side is here, right side is there. So the center is actually like there. It's not between the two wheels, it's more there. So yeah, I don't usually tend to shoot arrows because they don't tend to be out in front. They're more like drop, right? So there's the center. I move it because I'm more or less 45 degrees. I'm only moving it about a third, and then I'll move it for the wind. It's not much. Okay, so that was a good shot. Well, easy wind. And you know, well, he probably won't be shot blocked. I don't think arrow gets shot blocked. Yeah. So generally, it's only tanks that have a really low shooting nozzle that tend to get shot blocked. Oh, and if they're sitting at the edge of the map like this, you can aim, you know, just like to the side. It doesn't matter as much because pretty much all the bullets are gonna hit the land because they're gonna they're all gonna go past the edge and then come back, right? So it doesn't matter too much where you aim it. He's gonna get dropped. And the explosion clouds, right? These teal clouds will increase the size of your shot, and that's good to know because it means you can drop them farther down. You also have more room for error, but it also means that the middle piece of land will be smaller, so you're not going to shot block them, basically. What else? That's 5. I'm just going quick now, but yeah, I think it went over pretty much everything. I guess we'll talk about strategy, right? So with Blank, he's a very high threat target. And generally you'll be focused. Like if the enemies know that you're good with Blank, they should be hitting you Blank, like doing everything they can to kill your Blank. I've had people like use Vamp at full health just to try to do a bit more damage to kill Blank. And that's actually totally worth it because if Blank dies without killing anybody or without like severely trapping somebody, then he's essentially just didn't do anything, right? So if you need to do everything in your power to, like, if you're playing against Blank, you need to do everything in your power to make sure Blank dies before you die or before he gets off a good trap. And if you're Blank, you want to make every effort to keep yourself alive. And that includes like using Vamp when you're like just slightly damaged. Also, you kind of have to know, like, okay, are you going to be able to get off a trap? Is it going to take too long to kill them with, you know, through digging and trapping. Sometimes you have to make a call and just say like, well, no, I'm not going to be able to trap the guy, so I might as well just do some damage before I die, right? Because when you're digging them and not doing much damage, unless you can follow that up, you know, then it's not going to be very good for you if all you did was put them in a hole where they can hide and, you know, they're still at full HP. But I guess that brings to what are good partners for blank. So if you are playing with somebody who also knows how to bunge, how to dig, that's probably the most effective for blank. Is if you have, like, say 2 blanks, or you have a blank and a Bigfoot, or you have a blank and like even a JFrog, because JFrog can kind of dig. Well, he can dig, but it's not as well as blank or Bigfoot. So those are all like good partners for blank. I would say Octor is a decent partner because they also, like, both of them kind of thrive off of drawing out the game and preventing damage. So they kind of work together in that sense, because Octor can prevent damage on blank and blank can prevent damage on Octor, and they both need time to, you know, to maximize the effectiveness. And then as a blank, you do tend to be targeted quite heavily. So if you can get a drop that can survive and get off SS, it's actually not so bad to die early. So like a Rockin with a Robo, or some other. I think Rockin's probably the best because he's just so tanky and his SS is so good, and he can, you know, he can always super sky, right? He can always get his SS off or charge his SS in 2 turns. So Rockin is quite a good to have after blank. But if you need somebody who can follow up and dig when your blank didn't manage to kill the guy, then Rockin's not too good, right? So, I mean, you could use other dig mobiles like Beetle King or Bigfoot to follow up and try to secure the kill that way. But unless you're playing a fully bunge team, then sometimes it's gonna be very like it's gonna be weak if you're not fully fully committed to killing through bunch, because, you know, there's teleports and all that. There's some maps that are just not easy to bunge people in, right? Because it's thick and they have teleports or whatnot. But sometimes you can just overwhelm that by having enough of bunge that, you know, eventually you destroy the whole map and they really have nowhere to go. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. I think. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to end the tutorial here. Hopefully you learned something. I will be posting it up on YouTube, and, you know, you can leave comments and questions there and I'll try to respond. Alright, thanks for watching.